Good luck to the two of them. Once upon a time, the Corroboree frog was nearly wiped out, but then humans intervened, and the captive breeding program has been pretty successful so far. The ACT government has just kicked in another $100,000 to help it along. Recently, both Taronga and Melbourne zoos sent some eggs they'd nurtured, and they were placed in ponds, this time in Kosciuszko National Park. Richard Snashall is a local filmmaker and lover of wildlife. He made this short film to celebrate the new arrivals. It was produced by Australian Alps National Parks.
Dr. David Hunter has been working with this species for over 15 years. And here they are, the Southern Corroboree frog. It's hard to believe, but there may only be 50 to 100 left in the wild.
This is due to a pathogen called the amphibian chytrid fungus that was introduced into the Australian environment, we think sometime during the 1970s. And the thing about this pathogen is that it's actually causing amphibian declines and extinctions all around the world. In fact, they think several hundred amphibians may have been already driven to extinction due to this disease.
The other main reason is habitat destruction. Habitat destruction is certainly one of the biggest reasons why frogs are in decline.
So today is all about accessing remote locations to put Southern Corroboree frog eggs that have been bred in captivity into the wild.
Hillsville Sanctuary, Melbourne Zoo and Taronga are the three main facilities breeding Southern Corroboree frogs at the moment.
So we're here sorting out our eggs, and we've got the eggs in here because there's a cooler room in the hut. We want to keep the eggs between kind of 4 and 5 degrees Celsius max, because that's going to be the temperature in the pools today when we put the eggs back out there.
In terms of our operation for today, being able to use a helicopter to access some of the remote sites and having the pools as warm as they'll get through the solar radiation, this is perfect for what we need to do.
So here we have all the eggs that have been produced at the zoos this year, and they're about to go in the chopper for their flight out to a couple of the sites where the tubs are set up.
So this is a breeding area for the Southern Corroboree frog, and this is one of the main areas where we're doing our reintroduction. And the key to this reintroduction are these tubs. We've got Raylene here putting eggs straight into these tubs.
When placing them in, we want them to, initially to sink down to the bottom. And the reason for that is with the temperatures we're getting over night time here, it's foreseeable that they could get a sheet of ice over the top of the tub, and if that's the case, there's a chance that there's a floating egg on top it could freeze.
Once the eggs go into this water, that then stimulates them to hatch, and then there's all the other food and requirements for the tadpoles in these tubs, and they can then happily grow and develop through to metamorphosis.
We've just put 50 eggs in this tub, and then we'll go down to another tub and release another 50.
Once we were finished there, it was back on board to fly to the next release site.
So at each of these sites, as you can see here, we've got 5 of these tubs, and that allows us to have replication in terms of putting the eggs back into an individual site for our assessment, but also helps us understand patterns in terms of the success of this reintroduction program.
I'm just checking to make sure they've all floated down.
A final flight back to the hut, then we drove to the last release site for the day. You know, if we were standing back here in 5 years, 10 years' time, what would you like to be saying to me?
I feel very confident that in 5 to 10 years' time, I could be standing out here during the breeding season and we'd be listening to a breeding chorus of Corroboree frogs. I feel very confident that that's what we're going to see.
It's that sort of optimism and effort that makes a program like this succeed. And Dave Hunter, along with Mike, Raylene and their colleagues, may just revive the Corroboree frog breeding chorus that is currently sorely missing in the Australian Alps.
Well, that's nearly it for the week. Of course, the London Olympics kick off in the early hours of the morning. Our own Julie